everybody.
Hey.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
It's Jeanette and Jenny, and it is 12 o'clock on Friday, and you know what time it is? That means it is Having Fun with J and J show.
12 o'clock your time, 1 o'clock my time.
I'm sorry, 12 o'clock Central, 1 o'clock Jeanette time. East Coast. By the way, she is in Florida. She is good. She survived her part of the hurricane, but she's in Fort Ritchie, right? So nothing ever happens.
Yeah, nothing ever happens in Newport Richie.
But we want to have a shout out. We actually did a breaking news show last night on our Creative Spirit channel regarding the Florida hurricane, and so we want to wish everybody the best. We hope everybody is coming up for air and getting their stuff together, and I'm sure whatever help you need is going to be available. You got a great governor there, and hopefully everything gets put back to rights like it always does in Florida after hurricane. This puppy was a doozy, Cat 4. So today, though, we have a special guest. Yes, and she's a bit of a surprise because if you hear the name of her company, you're going to think, gee whiz, where can I get a drink?
But I'm guilty of that. When I was introduced to her, I said, "Ooh, she makes beer. Wow, that's cool."
Yeah. All right, we're into it.
When I read what she really does, that was even cooler. So that was really nice. So I met her again in our famous platform through another person actually.
Alignables.
Yeah, alignables. Anyway, and I'm so happy that she was able to make time because she is a busy woman. I thought we were busy, but
I know.
She's told us, she's busy, but she made time for us, and I really appreciate that time. Her name is Gail Gabriel, and she has a company called Fed Brew. I know, right? I love the name, but you think wrong, and you're gonna go for it. But when you get there, you're gonna go, "Oh, this is much better." So I'm gonna go ahead and let her talk, and at the same time, I'll put her website up while she's talking. Gail, thank you so much for being with us. I know you are a busy woman, and I appreciate your time. So go ahead and introduce everybody about yourself and how you got started. That way Jenny can know too, because she always never knows who I'm bringing on. Today she really didn't know who I was bringing.
I did not know, guys. So it was a surprise. I was so pleasantly surprised. I'm always pleasantly surprised, but this one's especially pleasant.
Yes. I'll go ahead and put the slides up and everything. So by all means, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, well, I feel like I should have the old Beatles song, The Long and Winding Road, playing right now, because it definitely has been a long and winding road that brought me to the point where I can say that I'm the founder and CEO of an international award-winning kombucha company. So my company... Yes. So my company specializes in supporting people who want to drink smarter, not harder. So I started this company after I graduated from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition as a holistic health coach. And I had moved to the Eastern Shore of Maryland from the Philadelphia area, and didn't know exactly what I was going to do when we moved here, but I did know that I wanted to be of service and to help revitalize a small town where I purchased an old bank building, like a 1918 bank building. This was thankfully before all real estate went crazy.
Hey, that's right. Let me just interject. That is so flippin' amazing that you just said that you revitalized an old bank building. Those buildings are so awesome.
Yeah, this one's pretty cool.
They're so cool. Congrats on that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I saw it on your website. I think, is that it right there?
Yep, that's it.
Oh.
Yeah, that's me at the National the National Gallery of Art, the Sculptural Gardens, that second one on the top row. We're fortunate enough to live within 90 minutes of DC, so all of the museums are relatively close. So we go for a little day trip. I have an account in DC, so I make sure I take my one of my daughters with me, and we make it a little field trip for them. So that's part of the challenge of the balance of being a female entrepreneur is, being there for your children, being there for your customers, being there for your spouse, being there for your business, being there for your community. So again, I started this not really knowing what I was going to do with that building, but thought minimally it would make a nice office for a holistic health coach, and that it would communicate the message of investing in your health. So from there, I literally Googled what helps revitalize a small town. And so everything pointed in the direction of brewing. So small breweries have historically helped to revitalize towns that maybe the businesses have left, because primarily they need a large space. And when you need a large space, you need it to not cost a whole lot, right?
Right.
So I thought, all right, well, I'll make beer, but I want to make healthy beer. So I was going to make some of the ancient ales that are mostly herbs that were historically brewed by women. By the way, women were historically the brewers.
Wow.
Yep. And there's some interesting trivia about that. Like, if a woman got mad at her husband, she would make a bad batch of beer. Because she wasn't allowed to own any property.
Right? The outskirts a little bit.
So anyway, I was headed in that direction, and then I mean, it's the craziest thing in the world that I would listen to this music at night that was this calming kind of like kind of music, right? And this band from halfway around the world, they were playing in Philadelphia at the Temple University, and they had Reed's, the company Reed's, who makes ginger beer, sponsor them. So they were giving away kombucha. Now, that's a long-winded way of saying the first time I ever had kombucha was at a mantra fest in a temple, right? Okay. So, but I can't make up this this stuff. So from that point, I just started talking to my husband. I said, you know something, the world doesn't need more beer. They need more beverage options, right? And they weren't quite ready for herbal beers. So so we decided to start making kombucha. And you know, I started making it at home for my family. And then the next thing you know, we're doing a really good job of making kombucha. So I decided to get a license to do that. Now, this is where it starts to get really weird. Okay. So in 2016, I had a stroke. And then within a week of that, I had 38 cardiac events happen in one night. So I knew this because when I had the stroke, they put a recorder in my chest because they're like, we have no idea why you had a stroke. This is nuts. You're like perfectly healthy. So that night, I call it my night from heaven, not my night from hell, because I'm here, right? So I was really messed up. I'd stumble sometimes because a whole lot comes back, right? So that night affected my balance. Believe it or not, this motor mouth, it affected my speech, but it did not affect my resolve. Okay, so I made the decision that rather than fill out the forms to go on disability, to sell everything, to quit, and just, you know, be quiet, I made the decision to become a professional kombucha brewer. And within 8 months of that, my speech was back. Less than a year later, it was 11 months, I got my license to become a kombucha brewer. And because that project of turning an old bank building into a brewery was way too big for me, I decided to go work out of a kitchen space that was a commercial kitchen space that I rented. So our local school district operates something called a culinary arts center, and they actually reached out to me when they heard what happened, because it was like, what? The small town, big news, right? So they said, we can help you get started. And so we went to their building, and I have literally been operating this business under a set of stairs in a closet So,
What?
so I'm like Harry Potter, right? So all the magic and transformation happens under the set of stairs, right? And so if there's anyone out there who thinks they don't have enough money, they don't have enough talent, they don't have enough anything, just start where you are, and from that we've got this. And
Mm.
this is not what it first started out as. You see, I'm trying to get people to see that their health is really worth investing in.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Why did you pick the name Federal?
well, the town is Federalsburg, Maryland.
Got it.
And it was a bank. And I really just wanted, I don't know if I could be so bold to say, I always envisioned creating the nation of fermentation.
Nation of
That would be the best. That would be the best federal bureaucracy in the world.
Yeah, yeah. So that we had one company that was maybe set up on all, this is where the big bold dreams come, 50 barrels in 50 states, setting it up so that other people could have little businesses all over the country. But I don't know. I'm open to like I always tell my children, don't get attached to the outcome. Just do your best. Don't go all over the place, but do your best. Try to stay focused and just keep moving forward. And sometimes a step back is so that you can get a little perspective of what's going on.
That is wonderful. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at these pictures. I'm like, I'm getting thirsty.
Yeah.
So it's like all of these just wonderful people in your life, and looking at the healthy stuff.
Yeah.
So
of course
you were telling us before that so you got started, but when you first started to market, you were doing what? Farmers markets, you said?
Oh, yeah. Well, the very first thing I did was show up at some friends' houses and just test the product. Just do field testing, really, like, what do you think about this? Give me some feedback, just friends who would give me honest feedback on the product. And from there, we started at our very first farmers market, which was in Easton, Maryland. And we started selling this in mason jars at first, and then we switched to wine bottles because I felt that better communicated not only the value of the product, but my values, which were to help destigmatize drinking something that wouldn't get you drunk, but was still festive, and it was the life of the party. So I know that quite often adults can be like mean kids in big bodies. And so like, oh, did you hear they can't hang anymore, or whatever it is. Right. So what if I put it in a pretty bottle, right? And also, if you have this habit where you need to open your wine bottle and you need to pour it in a glass, if you here's where I get with my little taglines and stuff: change what's in the bottle and change what's in you.
I love that.
I like it. I like it a lot.
So it has been wonderful to see the level of support that we've received from the farmers markets, because again, we couldn't afford bottles. You got to remember, I got my butt kicked when all that happened, financially, physically, spiritually, everything. It knocked me down hard. So I had no money left. I pulled out all of my retirement because I told my husband, look, babe, if I don't survive the next year, because a lot of times when you have a stroke, another one comes and then another one comes and bye. Right. That I said, what good is my retirement if I die? So please trust me that I'm going into this with a health coach background. I know that if I focus on restoring my health over the next year, the investment is going to pay off for decades. So that is evidenced by the fact that I'm sitting here right now talking to you and not kind of stumbling over my words anymore. And I have to tell you, as a woman of faith, I'll share with you that night I had a stroke, there were guardian angels in that room telling me to get up.
Mm.
So I was laying on the floor in my room, and I was very comfortable and ready to like just go. And I heard someone say, I think Gail's had a stroke. And the other person said, I think she's had one too. And then they start talking to each other and said, well, you know, she's got to get up. Yeah, she's got to get up. And then they both start saying, Gail, get up. You got to get up. And I didn't recognize their voices. And I went to get up. And of course, my left side was weak, so I couldn't. So I just turned my head. When I went to turn my head, it was like a flash of light, a loud ringing in my ears. And it was like someone helped me get up.
Mm.
And I turn around and I look and I'm like, oh my God, there's no one here. They must have been my guardian angels. Right?
And we have them too. We do have them.
So I dragged my butt up the stairs using my arm to pull myself up the handrail up the stairs, tapped on my husband, and was able to communicate to him to give me aspirin. So I took a bunch of aspirin because all I kept thinking is, I don't want to have another one. Right? So, because, you know, the aspirins can be like clot busting or preventing, I should say. And so I went to the hospital, was having seizures, all kinds of crazy stuff. They had no idea why I had had a stroke. So they put the recorder in my chest. And then within a few days, that's when I had the night where I had 38 cardiac events happen in one night. And And whenever I start to get rough on myself, I asked for a copy of one of the printouts from the heart monitor. And you see 2 pages of a flat line, right? Mm. So there were multiple 30-second flat lines that I survived. And during that night, I actually, as you say, crossed over. And I saw my brother. My brother passed away when he was 23. He was in a car accident, got out of the car and was hit. So that's what killed him, was he was run over after he was in a car accident. And so, that just will tell you, like, when it's your time to go, it is. And when it isn't, it isn't. Right. So my brother said something to me that has affected me profoundly. And I know you're curious. You want to know what he said?
Yes. What did he say?
Wasn't that a cool earthly experience?
What? Hmm? Wasn't that a cool earthly experience?
Yep.
That's what he told you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And so what I said to him was, yeah, but I'm not done yet. And I turned around and I said, I got to go back. She's only 8 years old. She's 16 now. And we just waved to each other. Kind of. Right. And, when I think about it, even God came here to have the earthly experience. Right.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And so now we all get caught up in the craziness when it's really an experience that we're here for. Right. So why do we get so crazy about this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad, that person, this person? Just do your own thing. Do your own thing.
Preaching today.
But that's the truth. So I decided to do my own thing with this kombucha because nobody knew what the heck it was.
I didn't know what it was when I saw it.
I've never heard of it, and I'm curious.
I am too. I want to buy a bottle.
I know.
That's coming soon, and so that's my next step in growth. Is
there an age limit? Like, is it for kids, or is it just an adult? Is it something only adults?
So it is not categorized as an alcoholic beverage because it has there are rules about the amount of alcohol that are in it. So it has to have 0.5% or below of alcohol in it. And so just to give you an idea of how little that is, if an adult woman, average size adult woman, were trying to get drunk, she'd have to drink 6.5 of these in 1 hour. Okay.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
No, you'll be on
that would just be me on one.
Well, there's
I'm not good with. I would probably just be the 1/6 person, but
yeah. So
I don't think I could drink the whole one. That would be a lot, but
Yeah, well, you really shouldn't. You only need about 4 to 6 ounces of it for the therapeutic benefits, and the therapeutic benefits of kombucha, when it's made in the traditional way, include supporting a healthy gut because of the healthy digestive acids and enzymes, and the probiotics that are in there. And I geek out every once in a while. We had DNA testing done on our kombucha to validate a theory that I had, which was that there was a local strain of probiotics in here. Sure enough, there's a local strain of probiotics in here. So just like local honey.
What part of the what historic beginnings is this brew?
So it's been around since 221 BC. So you know what? Jesus might have had some.
What?
Yeah, but probably not unless he traveled over to Asia, because that's where it came from.
Asian, or is it like Egyptian? Is it?
No, its roots. The traditional history about kombucha is that a Japanese physician named Dr. Kombu, which kombu also means seaweed, that Dr. Kombu gave this beverage to a Chinese emperor to help him with his stomach issues. And so its origins are from Asia and primarily China. But then it made its way over to Eastern Europe, where they have traditionally consumed a lot of fermented foods and beverages. But around the world, there are fermented foods and beverages because it's the oldest form of food preservation.
Right.
So, I enjoy it. It starts out as sweet tea, and then I put in a mother, much like you need one for sourdough. I put in a mother and a what's called a SCOBY, or a cellulose pellicle, that is a symbiotic culture or colony of bacteria and yeast. And like the old commercial with Ron Popeil, set it and forget it, you let it do its thing. So then I cover it with a cloth. It's considered an open fermentation, so it's a wild fermentation. And during that time that it ferments, the majority of the sugar is consumed. It then gets converted into alcohol, and then it gets converted into vinegar, so acetic acid. So that alcohol level comes back, and it's essentially like a very light form of vinegar with a low amount of carbonation. Many kombucha brewers are force carbonating it. I don't do that because I'm trying to create something that is gentle on the stomach, because a lot of people with gut health issues can't tolerate carbonation. So this is gentler, and people with gut health issues should be able to consume it, with that tiny amount of effervescence in it.
Do they come in flavors?
Yes, we're kind of known for having, oh my God, we've had over 100 different flavors since I've been
doing it. Do you have a raspberry? That's my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm ordering one.
Yeah. So I'm trying right now. I'm working with a company, and I haven't signed anything with them yet, so I don't want to say their name, but I'm working with a company that is going to do the parts of the business that are very hard for me, which are the website, the SEO management, the digital marketing strategy, all of these things, the customer service when somebody calls, and, because right now I go from like yelling at my kids to like, hi, thanks for calling Fed Brew. How can I help you? So
it's like you're a little bit of everything in one while you're ready to go big in the thing.
Yes, and that's the tipping point for most small businesses, is they get to this point and they're like, oh my God, this isn't fun anymore. Right. So it's a lot of work, and this is like really where the rubber meets the road. Like, how bad do you want it? And it's not so much how bad do I want it. Like yesterday, during my interview, they're like, what motivates you? Do you know what motivates me? What motivates me is thinking about my grandparents on their hands and knees scrubbing floors for people.
Yes.
That's what motivates me, is that they were willing to come here, do things that nobody else wanted to do, take crap from people, right? And it was not because they were doing it for themselves. They were doing it for their descendants. Okay. So I not only am I grateful for getting the gift of having a second chance of life, I also feel like I have an obligation to create something that is going to outlive me, right? To create a legacy brand that my unborn grandchildren will benefit from. Okay? Because it's just in my DNA, I guess you would say, to work hard and know that you might not benefit for it. I mean, I think there's some old expression about planting a tree that you'll never get to see grow, and that's kind of what motivates me, is that my husband and I have worked so hard. I mean, we have yelled and screamed at each other, cried, everything, and now it's like, oh, how can I step back now?
Can't.
You know,
You're already in this, girlfriend.
Jenny be saying the same thing. It goes, girl, what did we get into? And she goes, I'm the one that says we're gonna keep on going until we can't go no more. That's it.
Right.
We'll keep on going like that train. I know I can. I know I can. I know I
Yes.
can. And that's what we're gonna do.
Right.
And
Yeah.
We do have a question. One question before Jeanette does this. What's your bestseller?
This one, the Just Peachy. Yeah.
Ooh.
It's yeah, it's not it's we call it our gateway kombucha. Because
I like that.
because what I have found is that this is a familiar flavor. A lot of people like peach tea, so it tastes like peach tea that's a little bit sour. And from there, what we have found after doing this for several years is that people's palates develop, right? So one of the amazing things about when you change some of the things that you drink, when you stop drinking such sweet things, which we all know they're designed to get you to drink more because they actually make you thirstier. Yep. So when you start drinking things that help stabilize blood sugar levels, a lot can happen. Sweet seems sweeter to you, so it's going to change habits. And so from there, our customers will go from, give me something that's a little stronger. And when they say stronger, they don't mean more alcohol. They mean more vinegar. So some of our customers like it just to put a splash in their water, to make a mocktail, to make a cocktail, because not everyone that drinks our kombucha is sober serious. So, we've had right now, one of my personal favorites is our blackberry, which is made with tea, of course, and blackberry leaves, and it's delicious. Our award winner was Imperial Gold, which
you got an award. What from? Please explain.
It was from Kombucha Brewers International, and we placed silver in what was the most competitive category that they had, which was their ginger and spice. And our Imperial Gold, I developed that recipe in March of 2020 when COVID was rearing its ugly head. And I literally prayed on it and said, God, I know that you put everything we need here. Can you inspire me to come up with something that can help people? So I came across a study from a Korean physician who showed that when you ferment the sea buckthorn berry, that it produces a specific strain of probiotics called lactobacilli, which is often called the woman's probiotic, because we have a lot more of that than men do.
Yes.
And what lactobacilli does is it competes for the food source that COVID requires, according to this study, which is purine. Purine is naturally occurring in the human body, and so it can essentially help to starve COVID. And then from there, I thought, well, they kept talking about the cytokine storm, right? So this was the body's inflammatory response. So I thought, all right, now I need to put in anti-inflammatories. And in India, they have historically used food as medicine, much like traditional Chinese medicine. They have Ayurvedic medicine. And so in the Ayurvedic culture or tradition, there's a group of herbs, including turmeric and black pepper, which helps to make the turmeric more bioavailable. So I put all of this herb combination into the Imperial Gold. I'm not going to give you my secret sauce recipe, but there's a lot of spices in it.
Okay.
And because I didn't want the world to think that I was capitalizing on a bad thing, I sought out a very high-end tea, an imperial yellow tea, which is considered a tribute tea, which was historically reserved for the emperor. All right. So that's why I called it Imperial Gold. So we won 2 years later. Mm-hmm.
Good for you.
Yeah.
What an amazing story, Gail. That's a nice.
And you know,
we need more than a half hour, but
yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead, and I never do this, but I think God is telling me to read the next day's meeting, because when I'm hearing everything and I'm going, this one fits for right now.
Yeah.
So I won't read today's, which I've never done that, but this one is just very deep, and it's called Manifesting Your Reality. It's really deep. It says here, manifesting your reality sounds like something from a contemporary self-help course, but the concept comes straight out of the Bible. As he thinks in his heart, so he is. Proverbs 23:7. I like to say it like this: where the mind goes, the man follows. Positive thoughts are the precursors to a positive life. On the other hand, our lives can be made miserable by anxious thoughts and negative expectations. We usually think our problems are the thing running our life, but usually it is our attitude towards them that does the running. We all encounter people who have great attitudes despite being in trying circumstances. We also encounter those who have money and privilege to burn, yet they murmur and complain, are negative and critical, and are filled with self-pity and resentment. We have more to do with how our lives turn out than we like to admit. Learning how to think right is mandatory for good health. Thoughts affects emotions, and they both affect the body. In order for you to be whole, you must maintain your healthy mind. Make a decision right now that you're going to have a healthy mind. Renewing your mind will take some time and effort. You must learn new positive ways to think. But reading God's word can help you do that as much as anything else. So,
I started a new habit when things started getting very difficult. One of the things I didn't mention is that with my mom's passing, it was after 5 years of having vascular dementia. So I've been supporting her, other than the last year when she had to go to nursing home. And that's a very difficult thing to do, is to watch someone slowly die in front of you. Right. So one of the things I started doing is every morning getting up at least a half hour before anyone else in the house and doing my daily scripture and time for prayer. And I had this time where remember I told you I was doing this mantra stuff. I literally had the voice in my head say, well, you need to put down those mantra beads. That's not how you were raised, And I'm Catholic. So for me, it was pick up the rosary beads. Right. And I'm like, oh my God, did I really just hear that? You know what I mean? And so for me, every day I start my day with the daily scripture, and just I literally will go outside, look at the birds, look at the squirrels, thank God for another day. Thank you, God, for another day. And I say every morning when my eyes open up, thank you, God, for another day. Please put people, opportunities, and places in my path so that I may glorify you through my success. So that has made a huge difference, because I wake up with just thanking God that I got another day.
Mm.
And we don't, it's very easy to wake up and say, "Oh God," right?
Mm.
Mhm.
And it's just as easy to go, "Oh God,"
Mm.
right?
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly.
So
And we
you
don't do that often enough.
Mhm.
know,
Yes, and then, one of the things that my mother did, which was just so God, is that dementia stuff is kinda wacky where you never know what's gonna come out of their mouths, right? And
Right.
so every once in a while, she'd have these wisdom bombs that she'd drop on me, and one of the ones is related to the what you just read, and she would say, "Honey, why are you so worried? You worry about what happened yesterday and it doesn't exist. You
mm,
worry about tomorrow and it doesn't exist. The
mm,
only thing that exists is right now."
mm, mm.
In the
That's
moment.
deep. In a moment.
Keep,
Oh my
stay your path. Keep your focus on your path.
Mhm.
And if you can pick up little tidbits on the road that through your path seems to be the thing that works for people. And I
God.
think it worked for you very well.
Mhm,
Hey,
And I both said, we want to
I
buy that stuff.
mhm,
yeah, so that's what I'm working on now is there's the company that, I mentioned, that I'm not gonna mention their name yet, but you'll see it on the website once this goes through, is they're going to be the place where you buy the product, and
distribute. The
they'll handle
distributors.
everything.
That's called the distributors. They're gonna be the distributors of your product.
Well, kind of, sort of. It's a drop ship thing. So I actually, fulfill the orders, but don't have to manage everything because
Okay.
But people can find you right now at FedBrew.
fedbrew.com, and then I'm very active on Instagram, which pushes out to Facebook, which I check on about once a week. But then I get distracted by cute cats and dogs, so that doesn't work for me.
I
So
like it.
Instagram, my handle is FedBrew.
Okay, I have it in
Now,
there. Good brew.
I have to say that it was so interesting. I don't think I've ever seen. I used to live in San Diego, of the private brewery capital of the world. Like they've won multiple awards for their beers, their concoctions. But I've never heard of this before, and I think everybody would really, if we all got our health
Oh my God.
better, and we didn't focus so much on the junk stuff that's been given to us cheap and almost free.
It's not real food.
We would feel so much better. And honestly, people don't understand where beer comes from. It was our first food. It was
Well,
the way they could, because of the harvesting, it wouldn't last, and so they'd ferment the beer and they'd keep it, and that would be actually their food.
yeah,
I mean,
I think they had small beers that they would call it that were really light in alcohol that children would eat. And I think Benjamin Franklin said, God loves us, so he gave us beer. What they didn't understand is that that they thought, well, if you drink beer, you don't get sick, but if you drink water, you get sick. Well, it was that boiling of the water.
water that sterilized the water to make
And they
it good.
didn't know that, so they couldn't see the little microbes in there that were making them sick. But this kombucha, it supports gut health, and there's a huge body of evidence that shows that there is an intimate connection between gut health and mental health.
Yep, absolutely.
Yes.
That's a perfect note. Because I know.
Go for a nice ending. And thank you so much, Gail.
My pleasure.
I appreciate you just spending time with. I've learned so much. I've been looking at your website. I'm like, how do I order this thing?
I know. We're both
Yeah, that's what everybody says. How do I order it? How do I order it? It's like, just hold on.
And that's the whole thing where God is placing you right now. You're about to hit big. So
Yeah.
surprises after this show. You don't be scared of that. Say, let's do it. Let's go, go, go. And go like the army says, just go, and just go.
Yeah.
I know I'm a customer. I know
Thank you.
Jenny too, because I need gut health. So I know I need gut health. So I'm gonna be just buying a little taste here and there and just having fun. And I saw your other products too, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be getting some of that too.
Yeah. I'll throw in some extras for you because
lovely.
and then Nike says just do it.
Yeah.
I say just fed brew it.
Yeah.
Woo!
Just you got some good taglines, girl. Anyway,
I can't sleep, so I come up with this.
Oh, welcome to the club. We all don't sleep. Crafters don't. But thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I love.
We're gonna show our creative spirit lead-in. We always do. And if you're interested, check us out.
Yeah.
Because we are growing in that way. So we do have our TV show. Our TV channel. Sorry.
Yeah.
Love to have you on a commercial there, but we are starting to get more people interested in our channel. It's just for crafters. It's a show. It shows for everybody. For kids, we're doing cartooning. We're bringing crafters. We're showing crafters of really different talents and skills. And no one is really, I don't think, has ever focused on crafters like we're doing. And there's millions of us out there. And you're an inspiration.
Yeah.
Absolute inspiration to everybody who's thinking or starting about doing any kind of craft or artisan work. And people, I know it's bare, but this is an art. She's talking about recipes. She's talking about brewing. She's talking about passing governmental standards. It is not an easy thing to do. And it takes skill, and it takes talent, and it takes intuition, and it takes, frankly, it takes guts. This is an amazing business, and I hope everybody takes the opportunity to check out her website right there at fedbrew.com. And we're going to go ahead and show our creative spirit lead-in, and we're going to see everybody next week. And stay tuned. Jeanette and I will be taping our new show. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Gail.
You're welcome. Bye.
Soundstripe.